Why this popular brain food may quietly harm memory after 60. Tuna, the so-called brain food. But one lab found 1 in 10 cans contained mercury above Europe's legal limit, and methylmercury is not just any toxin. It is a neurotoxin that attacks the brain's memory centers, the very regions older adults struggle to protect. We have been told eat fish for focus, for heart health, for sharper memory. But what if that very superfood is quietly doing the opposite, dimming the mind, not sharpening it? Because the truth is the same omega-3s that made tuna famous. Come with a dangerous hitchhiker the brain cannot forget. Without further ado, let us dive straight in, but before we do, a quick favor. If you care about uncovering the hidden truths behind everyday health myths, hit that subscribe button, tap like, and let us expose what is really hiding in your food. Picture this. A 65-year-old man sits at his kitchen table, proud of his healthy habit. He eats a tuna sandwich just like he has done for 20 years. Doctors said fish is good for the brain. The media said omega-3s fight Alzheimer's. He is doing everything right. Or so he thinks. But weeks turn into months and his memory feels fuzzy. Names slip. He forgets conversations. His wife jokes that he is tuned out. But inside, something deeper is happening. A silent methylmercury is building up in his neurons. Keep watching, because in the next few minutes you will see why tuna looks perfectly safe on the shelf. The shocking science behind how mercury sabotages memory, the exact species that carry the highest risk, and safer ways to get all the brain-boosting benefits without the brain damage. 1. Why it looks safe. Tuna looks clean, lean, and smart. Labels shout rich in protein and omega-3s. Doctors and dietitians often say fish twice a week keeps the brain sharp. And yes, fish do contain omega-3 fatty acids, the DHA that brains crave. But here is the catch: literally, the ocean these fish swim in is not the same ocean from 50 years ago. Industrial runoff, coal emissions, mining waste, old pollutants that never really disappear. They settle into the water and tiny organisms soak them up. Those tiny organisms are eaten by small fish. Small fish are eaten by bigger fish, and the bigger the fish, the higher the mercury concentration. That process has a name: bioaccumulation. With every step up the food chain, the poison stacks. Long-lived predators like tuna spend years eating and storing contaminants, so a single tuna can carry decades of contamination in its flesh. Think about a supermarket aisle. Bright cans, friendly labels, happy recipes on the back. You would never guess each can might be a slow-release dose of a heavy metal. Canned tuna does not look dangerous. It feels practical, affordable, and even virtuous. And here is another subtle point. Mercury hides in muscle tissue, the very part we eat. Cooking won't remove it. Washing won't help. It is invisible, tasteless, and cumulative. So while your tuna dinner looks like a smart choice, underneath is a history of pollution concentrated into a single bite. That is why the eat fish for your brain rule has a dark footnote: 1. We rarely see on the label. 2. The hidden danger, methylmercury and the aging brain. Mercury in fish does not stay as plain mercury. It becomes methylmercury, a chemical form that slips past the body's normal defenses. Methylmercury crosses the blood-brain barrier with ease. It also crosses the placenta, which is why pregnant women are warned. Once inside the brain, it does not wander harmlessly. It latches onto proteins and lipids, especially at sites that rely on sulfur-containing molecules. That interrupts how neurons send and receive signals. Synapses misfire. Communication slows. The hippocampus, your memory hub, is especially vulnerable. Methylmercury reduces new neuron formation there. It also ramps up oxidative stress and inflammation. Mitochondria, the cell's powerhouses, falter. When mitochondria fail, neurons lose energy and begin to die. Dopamine pathways suffer too. That is why people report not just forgetfulness but apathy and slowed reaction. It is not just a memory problem. It is motivation and attention slipping away. And the scariest part, it accumulates. Methylmercury hangs around in brain tissue for years. You won't notice after one meal or 1 year. Decades of regular tuna can leave a toxic signature that is hard to erase. Research backs this up. A 2017 study in environmental research found even moderate fish eaters had higher mercury, linked to worse memory and slower cognitive speed. A 2021 paper in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease showed seniors with higher blood mercury experienced faster decline even after accounting for age, smoking, and diet. So yes, omega-3s can help, but methylmercury does the opposite. It quietly undoes gains, cell by cell. Next, a real-life story that makes this invisible damage painfully human. 3. The real-world case, the fisherman's memory. In a small town in Massachusetts, a retired fisherman named Jack became a local legend. He was fit, sharp, and proud of his lifelong seafood diet. Fish for every meal, he would joke. It was his identity. But by 68, things changed. He started forgetting simple things: his daughter's birthday, his boat's docking code, even where he parked. At first it was laughable, then it was not. Neighbors noticed, friends worried. Jack grew frustrated and scared. Doctors ran the usual tests: MRIs, cognitive screens, no stroke, no obvious Alzheimer's. Then a blood panel came back with a shock. His mercury level was nearly 5 times the recommended safe limit. The room went quiet. A lifetime of healthy eating suddenly looked different. The culprit. Not candy or fast food. It was tuna steaks daily, sometimes twice a day, eaten as health food for decades. The same habit that made him proud was now suspected of harming the one thing he treasured most: his mind. Treatment was not dramatic. There is no quick antidote. First, Jack stopped eating tuna. He switched to lower mercury fish and added algae-based omega-3 supplements. Doctors advised dietary changes, repeat blood tests, and patience. Over months, his mercury numbers fell. His memory did not snap back overnight, but something subtle returned: clearer conversations, fewer blank moments, more laughter at the dinner table. His wife noticed small victories: the right name at the right time, fewer lost keys. "He is back," she said, hopeful but cautious. Jack's story is a personal warning and a mirror for many who trust simple health rules, and it raises a hard question: how many other healthy habits are quietly harming us? 4. The science nobody mentions. Here is what is rarely discussed. Mercury does not just affect neurons, it also blocks selenium, a mineral that protects the brain from oxidative stress. When selenium binds to mercury, it becomes unavailable to fight inflammation. That means your brain loses its shield. And with age, that is a devastating combo. According to a 2015 study in the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, older adults with higher mercury exposure showed more oxidative brain damage even with normal diets. So the problem is not just toxicity. It is that mercury disarms your natural defense systems, and it gets worse. 5. The safe tuna lie. Canned tuna is labeled as light or white. That gives an illusion of safety. But the species behind those words matter. Albacore white tuna contains 3 more mercury than skipjack light tuna. Some brands mix both and never tell you which ratio you are eating. A 2023 investigation by Consumer Reports tested 30 popular tuna cans. Nearly 1 in 10 exceeded Europe's legal mercury limit, and several US brands were just below the cutoff, meaning one bad batch could quietly push you over the edge. And because mercury accumulates, your body does not reset after a week. It stores it mostly in the brain and liver. 6. The silent symptoms no one connects. Mercury poisoning in adults rarely shows as poisoning. It looks like aging. You might notice trouble recalling names, tingling in hands or feet, vision blur, fatigue that does not go away. Doctors might say it is normal for your age, but if you are eating tuna 3 to 4 times a week, that normal could be mercury. Build-up. A 2020 Harvard study found older adults with high fish intake but poor mercury detox genes were twice as likely to show early cognitive impairment, so the myth that fish automatically helps memory. It is only half true and dangerously misleading. 7. The safer alternatives they do not tell you. You do not need to quit fish, you just need to choose smarter. Wild salmon and sardines are rich in omega-3s but low in mercury. Anchovies and trout are excellent for brain health with minimal contamination risk, and plant-based omega-3s from chia, flax, or algae oil offer clean, mercury-free DHA. In fact, a 2022 study in Frontiers in Nutrition found that seniors who took algae-based omega-3 supplements showed the same brain improvements as those eating fish without mercury accumulation. So you can protect your memory and enjoy the benefits of DHA without the hidden cost. 8. Why nobody warned you? If the science is this clear, why has not the world been told? Because the tuna industry is a $40 billion business built on health. Their ads show lean athletes and smiling seniors holding tuna salads, not mercury test results, and regulatory agencies often base safe limits on average exposure, not cumulative effects over decades. Meaning, even if your weekly intake seems safe, your lifetime exposure might not be. And that is the real danger: slow toxicity disguised as wellness. Psychological insight: why the myth persists. Humans love simple rules. Fish equals brain food. It is easy. It feels smart. It sounds scientific. The phrase started in the 1970s when omega-3 research exploded. Media headlines ran "Wild fish makes you smarter." But the early studies were small, short, and never tested for mercury. The idea stuck because it is comforting. We want food to save us, especially as we age. We fear cognitive decline, so we cling to anything that promises memory. Add decades of clever marketing and you have got a perfect storm of belief. Even when new evidence surfaces, people resist it. Because changing what we eat feels like changing what we believe, the shocking truth. Your favorite brain food may be the same food that is quietly stealing your memory, not because you made a bad choice but because you trusted a half-truth. Tuna gives the brain omega-3s, yes, but it also gives the brain mercury, and the brain never forgets that. So next time someone says eat tuna for sharper memory, remember this: sharper is not worth it if it cuts from the inside. If you learned something today, hit like, it helps this truth reach more people, and tell us in the comments. 1. How often do you eat tuna or other fish each week? 2. Did you ever notice memory fog or fatigue that doctors could not explain? 3. And most importantly, do you think we are told the whole truth about what is really in our food? Subscribe for more eye-opening health investigations where myths fall and facts rise.